This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I don't know anybody quite like her, and especially with the passion for pets, especially dogs, where she helps us get the behavior from them that we want, maybe get rid of some bad habits. She is always an advocate for them, and even service dogs. If you think you have a dog that could fit that category, she can walk you through that, the training, and then help you even get the certification. Today, we're gonna learn about something called Power Dogs. I honestly don't know what that is, so let's go right to her. She's the woman behind Animal Psychology Center. Katherine Andrews on the program. How you doing today?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. And I got to tell you, people, I am such a fan of Steve. He's such a wonderful person and always draws the best out of you. I couldn't, all the information that you hear would not be nearly as good without Steve on the other end. Bravo.
Well, thank you, but I don't even think it's like it just like channels through me, and I just ask.
Just like somebody who is so good at communication and at being such a pal and such a good friend, you don't even realize what you do and how wonderful you are. So I had to just take a moment to appreciate.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel I'm thinking and listening like a regular listener and want to know about these things as they come up. And we love our animals. We love our dogs.
We do. And you have such a great heart, and I connect to it so profoundly. And I think the two of us really dredge up some good stuff, you know. I mean, not to toot our horns, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Okay, so let's talk about Power Dogs. And what I mean by Power Dogs, and I'm always talking about genetics when I put a label on dogs, and I'm going to let my Power Dog out here for a second, is that are bred for personal protection, protecting herds, like German Shepherds and my dog's a Cane Corso. They protect herds of sheep or goats, and that's originally what they're bred for, but they're also bred to protect the person who is the herd master, you know. And so I got a call, and I'm going out tomorrow to check out a dog who's only a year old, and he's a bully breed, and he's getting too big for his britches already at a year. You know, he's not even out of the puppy stage, and he's starting to boss everybody around and dominate. And this man called me, and he's the pack leader of the family, which a lot of times the man is, because men have a masculine energy and animals tend to respect it more. Women are softer energy creatures, and so we tend to get less respect, honestly, you know. And but he's going out of town for a couple weeks, and he was concerned about his wife and kids not being able to make this situation. He was afraid it was going to get worse, and I said, yeah, it is. So I'm going to go over there, and what we're going to do is start off with remember the last episode where we put the training collar, the prong collar on. We showed you how to use it, got the dog in the sweet spot, and basically plugged into his genetics and said, I'm the leader. You need to follow me, and you're not the leader. And a lot of times when that happens, you're going to get a dog that's going to throw a pretty profound fit, because it's the first time that anyone has said that. I'll usually, when I do a house call like this, and I'm doing a house call because they're actually telling me they can't get him in the truck or the car. Like, he doesn't want to go, and if he doesn't want to do something, they can't make him. And I'm like, oh boy, we've already got a probleme here, you know? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And probably what I'm going to have to do before I put him in the sweet spot, before I put the collar on him, is I'm going to have to put a muzzle on him, because sometimes these power breeds will discipline you with their teeth. That's what they do. And so we might have a little bit of a rodeo before we get him to recognize me as the leader And then once we do that, then I got to get the rest of the family to take the collar and for him to recognize them as the pack leader too. That's where we start.
So I'm getting memories back when I first got my dog, and he was fine with the kids, women, but as a puppy, he really liked me. And I was really concerned. Like, I don't know if it was
He didn't like you?
he did
He
not.
didn't like
No, he
oh,
would be
okay.
bark, he would be standoffish. So I literally, what do I know? I got down on all fours and I'd be, at his level. And eventually, yeah, very short time, couple of weeks at the most, we bonded and everything was fine. But, to your point, I wonder, the reverse of your point, did he view me as a threat because he's, the alpha dog in his mind, and then I'm a male, whereby women, he was fine with them, and small kids. I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of would have to see his demeanor to see how he was barking at you. Was it out of dominance? Was it out of fear? Was he kind of playful? So there's different kinds of barking. And I'd also have to telepathically read what he was saying to you. That's the truth. Yeah.
I wish you could do that now, because it's a weird thing when somebody comes over. He barks to me, and it's almost as if he's trying to tell me, we got somebody over here, you might want to take note of that. And I'll be like, oh, that's all right, what are you doing? And he's like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." And it's not excessive, but it's when somebody's over, it's the weirdest thing. It could be the same person he's seen, but he'll do that. I don't know. Or he's trying to establish, I'm the top dog here, and I'm just letting everybody in this
Right.
room know.
Well, and here you brought up a good point because sometimes when animals are barking at someone or they don't readily accept someone into the pack, and people will say this, oh, he didn't have good intentions towards me, or, she ended up being not a good person. That's true. But sometimes animals are picking up on fearfulness, on trepidation, and that could be because that person had a bad experience with a dog or a cat, or maybe they even had a bad day and they're not in a good mood. So you can't always write it off as that person, is
Hmm.
doesn't have good intentions or is not a good person. And that's why I don't have a problem seeing the difference, but most people do, you know?
Hmm. Hey, I don't think he's barking to tell me, hey, we might have a problem here with this person. It's anybody that
Mhm.
comes over. It could even be family, and he's not barking at them. He's barking
Yeah.
at me. Or because I'll say, all right, calm down. What do you got going on over there? He's like, that's the weirdest thing.
It
Then he
might just
calms
be that
down.
he's excited somebody's over.
Maybe it's as
I'm
simple as that.
excited.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean, a lot of times, not a lot of times, every single time I have a client or a friend walk through my door, my pack gets excited. I mean,
Your
they're
your
like,
your what? Your
whoa,
cat?
my pack, PACK, my pack,
Oh, your pack.
my
Okay.
pack of dogs and cats,
Yep.
because
Yep.
my cats are domestic. They're not, I'm sorry, they're purebred. So they're bred more for companionship and they don't go outside, they're purebred.
Same.
I mean, I do have cats that go in and out, but they're different genetics, and we're going to talk about that someday too.
I would
But
love to. I would love to
they get
talk about
excited.
cats. I got two. They're like dogs.
Yeah, well, I have it on my list. We're going to talk about that at a different podcast and why some people are really good candidates for purebred cats and some people are better candidates for what I call domestic long hair or short haired cats, and where one fits in a family and where the others do too. So another podcast, our next one. We're gonna talk about that on the next one. But yeah, back to this whole thing when people come into your space. Again, the golden rule is they have to calm down before you let that person share affection. And number two, they have to respect that person's personal space, right?
Hmm.
So I see a lot of times my clients are like yelling at their dogs or like, hey, calm down, or, and what that does is it elevates the excitement and it makes it harder for everybody to calm down. So what I do is bring the client in or the guest, and I make everybody back off and respect their space. I make eye contact. I point, I look at him and go, guys, calm down. And I wait for everybody to just take it down. And when they do, the guys that calm down get to come in one by one and meet that person if that person wants to meet them. Because sometimes that person's coming in here because they need to pee.
Mm.
Because I don't have a bathroom in my training room, which is adjacent to my house. So I have to bring them in my house to go to the bathroom. And I mean, sometimes we got to get them in here to pee, but they need to calm down like ba-boom right away. And they know that. And then
Mm.
when the person comes out of the bathroom, if they want to meet them, again, they all, and what I make them do is sit. So I've got like, 5 or 6 dogs that are just going to sit and they're going to behave and look. And I'm going to say, okay, Hera, come on in. She can meet the person, the next one, the next one. But as soon as they jump up on that person or they get too excited, they got to step back and respect the space. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So you reward. What are you rewarding? Again, golden rule. You are rewarding a calm brain. Everything that has to do with the way I train has to do with the natural programming or genetics. And this is what Mama Dog does. When the puppies calm down, they get what they want. They get affection, attention, food. They get to move forward with the pack. It all has to do with calming the brain down.
What about the type and or quality of treats? I've often heard that if you, not all dogs know the difference between premium treats and, the average ones. So, I've heard for the average training, even a Cheerio is okay. That's the average treat. But if you really want to evoke something substantial, you go premium. But you only do that when it's major things. Like, for example, you're trying to train your dog not to run away off leash, or like, open the door
Yeah.
and the dog runs
Yeah.
out. Something
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah. Super, super good point. Because when we're trying to teach something really hard, like high level, like at the dog park, they can't get their dog to come back. We use a long lead line and let them go and let them, get all other, uh, what do you call it? Disconnected. And then we call them. And they don't come, we use the lead line, but when they come back, we actually have like a baggie with a real piece of chicken or something that's really a high level treat. Because that's a hard thing to train because you're at the dog park, there's so many dogs. But when mom or dad says, Hera, come, you know. But if you say, Hera, come, give her a treat, have her sit down, and then let her go right away, that next time you call her, she's going to really have a much higher propensity to want to come back to you
Hmm.
because you're rewarding with a high level treat. You're also rewarding her calm brain and you're being calm. That's another thing. You have to be calm too. You can't be like, oh my God, that was so great. You can't do that because you take it out of training mode when you do that.
Hmm.
And then you're also letting her go right away. You're not making her sit there through, some conversation with your girlfriend. You let her go right away. So you reward it with high level treat and a compliment, good dog hair and freedom.
Is the goal to eventually replace the treat with just praise? Yeah, it just,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, that's what
Absolutely.
I'm thinking.
If you and I have a relationship, I've never put a donut in your mouth. Doing something nice for me.
That's true. It's true.
I might at some point if we ever meet in person, but probably not, Steve. Probably not.
Jelly
We
donuts are one of my
yeah.
favorites. Just
Okay, I'll have to remember that.
saying.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have to make it relationship based for
Mm,
sure.
okay.
And that's why, because it's emotionally healthy.
I did. I.
And remember, I told you, you're probably not going to remember this because I told you this story way back when we first met. There was a morning show program where they had a trainer, and I say that in parentheses, trainer, who was going to train the service dog. It was a lab. And every month they were going to come on and show you for a year this dog being trained. And the trainer had this gigantic bag of treats on her hip. Every single time that puppy did something good, it gave it a treat, gave it a treat, gave it a treat, gave it a treat. So at the time the puppy was like 8, 9 months old, it was obese. And
Oh.
the puppy, every time it did, and I remember she taught it to open the elevator with its paw. It ran up and opened the elevator, treat. Ran up again, opened the elevator, treat. And everybody on the morning show was like, oh my God, that's so great. But the thing is, Steve, never once did I see that puppy make eye contact with the trainer. It was the treat bag. And what the energy that I couldn't stand, because I couldn't stand to watch it anymore, I did, was like, I can't watch this anymore, was that the energy that you felt from the puppy was obsession. Like the puppy was like treat, 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 treat,
Yep. Yep.
There was no communication, there was no calm brain. The puppy was always like, ha, 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 treat, 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 treat. And that puppy, that poor, and even one of the people on the morning show was like, that's a chubby puppy at 10 months. And it's a lab anyway. They have a tendency to have a good sense of smell, and they like food more. And she was like, yeah, labs tend to be chubby. Well, especially when you're putting treats in their mouth every 2 seconds.
And I'm sure, for TV, they made sure that that dog was going to perform that way. They wouldn't take a chance.
She
So
said she had the treat bag with her all the time. So honestly, if she didn't have the treat bag with her, we weren't getting a dog that was going to perform. But she just always had the treat bag with her. And literally the bag was this big and it was stuffed with treats. So that puppy ate all day long.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, because I
Hang
believe.
on, I'm just like, oh, that was just hard to watch. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, thank
the
you.
the connection you need to make, and we don't really see it sometimes. Like you said, the eye connection. It's essential. Like, you don't want a robot, a treat robot. You get, you love your dog. You want them to love you back and connect with you.
Right. Well, I always draw parallels with kids and dogs because they're a lot alike. We're
Mm.
mammals. We're all mammals. And if, I've seen people who promise their kids, ice cream. If we do XYZ, we'll take you for ice cream. We'll take you for ice cream. We'll take you for ice cream. And that's another thing of, you program these kids, treat, 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 and then they grow up and they're, chubby, and that's what their brain thinks, that they equate it with love, and that's not love. Food is not love. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love food and I eat, but it's not a good thing to program, honestly.
Mm.
You know?
Oof.
It's a special occasion kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. Or you know what, that the with the kid and the ice cream, whatever it is, premium treat.
Right, right. It's
That's a
not
premium.
like every day you go, or every
Right.
time the kid gets a report card, or it's you don't program it so that the kid constantly thinks, ice cream, we go to the ice cream place. Maybe sometimes you do, but a lot of times you go to the playground, or you have a play date, or you go to the water park, or what, but you mix it up so that you're not programming that child for one particular reward. There are many rewards. And mostly it's about the connection, and it's about doing it with them, and it's about the time that you share together.
What else can you tell us about power dogs?
Yeah, good point again. You're really getting to know this stuff, Steve. You know the right stuff to ask. Well,
Learning from the best.
yeah,
Come on.
I know, right? Well, thank you. It is they need more direction than your Cocker Spaniels, your poodles, because they have such strong programming to confront human beings. So they've been bred to, if there's a human who is acting kind of bad intention, they're not quite on the level, they're going to confront them. Whereas other breeds, they're hunting breeds, they're breeds that are bred for companionship, like your cute little Shih Tzus and stuff. They're not going to go over and look them in the eye and go, hey, buddy, knock it off. Whereas Hera, my dog, she sees a guy across the parking lot that's looking at me like, hey, baby, she will step forward, stick her chest out, and go, what are you looking at? And every single time, I love it. This is like so cool. That guy will look at hair. He'll take his attention away from me, look at hair, turns around and goes the other way because he
Wow.
don't want anything to do with that dog.
How do you know
So,
you have a power dog? How do you know?
well, because certain breeds,
Okay.
breeds that are bred for personal protection. Sometimes, and a lot of people don't know this, like for German Shepherds, they were herding breeds to begin with. So a lot of times your herding breeds became personal protection breeds. But anytime you go on, like, say, puppies.com and you're looking for the right breed, they'll say things like propensity towards, how good are they with kids? How much of a problem are they to groom? How social are they? What's their activity level? They'll also say on there, and this is why I like puppies.com, they'll also say, will they protect? What's their propensity for protection? And with some of these breeds, it's very high, like the Cane Corso, which I have, the Dobermans, the Shepherds, those are your power breeds. And some of these breeds are becoming more popular lately. Like I'm getting calls lately for Cane Corsos. A lot of people are wanting to own them. And like this person I'm going to go see this week, I asked, what have you owned before? Golden Doodle, Cocker Spaniel. Well, this Cane Corso is a whole different ballgame. So that's why this dog is getting away from him. And I told them, I said, these power dogs are spectacular. You're going to love this dog. And he's like, oh yeah, we already are just so crazy. Like, they're so smart and they have a different personality. They have a lot of personality and it's a very strong personality. Leadership. They're very much a leadership type dog usually. But you have to get a hold of them and you have to be not just a good leader, but a great leader. Because if you're not a great pack leader, they're not going to follow you. And remember, you and I have talked about this. I always said one thing that I admire about dogs, they would have never followed Hitler. Hitler was an angry, mean, hateful person. Dogs would be like, I ain't following you. So, not to say that people are angry, mean, hateful, but if you're a weak leader, if you're not a good leader, if you don't know how to be a leader, which we're not born with those skills, most people have to be taught how to be a leader because if we were all born leaders, the species wouldn't survive, right?
Mm.
So you have to be taught that. So people think, that I'm an animal behaviorist. I teach animals. Well, 50% of what I do, honestly, and I don't get paid for this part, is I teach the human and I teach leadership because the people that I work with have to be taught, especially with a power breed, how to be a really good leader. Or that dog's not going to listen to them. They're not going to follow them.
Dog's going to know. They're going to know that you're weak. And because they,
Yeah.
like kids, as I've learned from you, they want to
Yeah.
be led. They want to be led.
Boundaries,
Yeah.
boundaries are a good thing. They're a kind thing. Boundaries are love, and that's true of any relationship. Like I always say to my clients, love and respect live in the same house. So if respect is down here, love is up here. And I'll tell you, when people have a dog that's really bad, sometimes I'll say, you're going to have to leave this dog with me for 3 or 4 weeks. I'm going to have to integrate them from the ground up with my pack. They're going to have to learn how to be a dog again and what leadership is. And hey, no, I turned my phone down, but oh, there was a point here I was going to make that's really important. When they come back, the dog is completely in love with me, and they're like almost tearful, like, "Oh my God, maybe you should keep this dog." And I'm like, I would have like literally 10,000 dogs. A and B, the only reason that this dog loves me so much is love and respect live in the same house. As soon as your dog loves you, honey. I promise you. As soon as we get your respect up here, you're going to have the same relationship that
Wow.
I have with your dog
I've
again.
never heard that said before where
Isn't it great? Yeah,
the dog has to respect you. Wow.
it has to.
Animalpsychologycenter.com. You can do this virtually. And again, like we said before, if you're pondering maybe a service dog, maybe you think your dog
Great.
has what it takes, you can train and you can certify. Thank you for today. I learned a lot. Oh my God. Every time we get together, it's like, and so, it's so obvious, but I didn't think of it in terms of your dog needs to respect you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We
Yeah.
don't think of it that way. Wow.
But so does everybody else in your life.
Well, sure. But, you don't think of it as of your dog. You just assume, they love me. They'll do whatever I want. But no, not so much if they don't respect you like a member of the pack.
Right.
Thank you for today.
You're welcome, Steve.
We'll catch up next time. I'm going to go get a donut.
Yeah. The Love Fest continues.
You got it. All right.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.